the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to continue from where we left off. In this video, we're going to talk about karma. How does karma work? Is it some type of spiritual money that where you invest in good, you get back good? Who has a spiritual ledger for all this stuff? And exactly how does it manifest in the next life? People are hyper worried about and hyper fixated on the blessings and curse that they obtained from previous lives and what's going to happen to them tomorrow. And they're reading their Vedic astrological chart through nauseation, going to this guru and that guru for their advice. Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is going to help us focus on what actually matters when it comes to karma. And we're going to actually kick off in chapter 6 with Arjuna asking a question relevant to karma for us to get a start on how best to inquire first on what's more important in the knowledge of karma. Now, as I go through this book, translations are going to be directly on screen from this book. Let's get started. Chapter 6, Shloka 37, Arjuna said, "He who is unable to control himself, though possessed of faith, whose mind deviates from yoga, what end does he meet with, O Krishna? Having failed to attain perfection in yoga, fallen from both, does he not perish like a rent cloud without any hold, O mighty armed, deluded in the path of Brahman? Deign to dispel completely this doubt of mine, O Krishna, for there is none but yourself who could destroy this doubt." Arjuna with a very reasonable question. If you're not successful really in anything, if you've fallen off of the spiritual path and the material path, you haven't picked really a side or an extreme, you're kind of hovering in the middle, do you just kind of fall into the abyss? Sri Krishna will immediately dispel this worry. The blessed Lord Sri Krishna said, "O Partha, neither in this world nor in the next is there destruction for him, for the doer of good, O my son, never comes to grief." So beautiful. Those who do good maintain that good. They are never overcome by evil. Now, how is that exactly manifested in the next life? Having attained to the worlds of the righteous and having lived there for countless years, he who falls from yoga is reborn in the house of the pure and prosperous. Or he is born in a family of wise yogis only. A birth like this is very, very difficult to obtain in this world. There he regains the knowledge acquired in his former body, and he strives more than before for perfection, O joy of the Kurus. Sri Krishna describing life like a video game. You go through level 1, level 2, level 3. You acquire this item in level 1. You get this power up in level 2. You unlock this skill in level 3. You become more and more powerful as all the levels get increased. And then you die in the middle of level 4. What happens to you? You go back to the main menu. You hit create a character again. You create a new character. The aesthetics are completely different. But guess what? All that you've unlocked is maintained. We're always saying, the classic saying, life is like a game. And the karmic logic is coming to that conclusion as well. What does it mean to say that all of this is just a leela? That all of this is just a play? Exactly what I'm saying right now. And this is also where the detachment comes in. I will try my best to beat you at cards. Trust me, I will. I will try my damnedest. But whether I win or I lose, it's just a game. And we'll play it again and again and again. And hopefully we'll have fun doing it. Regardless of winning, regardless of losing, we'll play and we'll try our best. By the very form or practice he is led on in spite of himself, even he who merely wishes to know of yoga rises superior to the performer of Vedic rites. I've practiced sadhana for 5 years, 10 years. How does this person that just started a few months ago all of a sudden reach these heights, all of a sudden get recognized in this way, get initiated into this practice when I've always wanted to? All these different jealousies that come up from spiritual people that have practiced for a very long time and don't see results. They're not seeing the full picture. At the end of the day, nature is ultimately fair. They're not seeing the actual work. It's almost like when you see highlights of someone's life on social media, and you get jealous because, oh, they have this skill and they're so good at this, and oh, I wish my life was like this. But you're not seeing the hard work and you're not seeing the dedication that they put into that to get to there. The delusion of, oh, I only see the trophies, I only see the reward, I only see the fruit at the end. Now, in the case of spiritual matters, that sadhana that is done for 5 years, for 10 years, that's never lost. Everything is getting carried forward, and you can trust that through this karmic logic, that in your next birth, you'll feel exactly what that person has felt that you looked at and you're wondering, how did that happen so fast for them and not for me? The yogi who strives with assiduity, purified from sins and perfected through many births, reaches then the supreme goal. Takes many births, takes many iterations, many creative characters in the video game to reach to the final level. The yogi is deemed superior to ascetics, superior to men of knowledge even. He is also superior to ritualists. Therefore, be you a yogi, O Arjuna. When you understand this is all a game, when you realize, oh, you don't need to do this extreme, that extreme, you don't need to do all those different things. Super intellectual, super disciplined, and you're butt naked in the middle of the forest and you're doing all this austerity. One who has that subjective understanding, that real understanding that all is one, that everything is Sri Krishna, everything is Bhagwan. And they walk with that real experiential bliss. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be a perfectly normal person walking amongst us. We wouldn't know. And hey, you are perfectly on your way to that spiritual perfection. So beautiful. That is also the yogi. And of all yogis, he who worships me with faith, his inmost self merged in me, him I hold to be the most devout. Ultimately, the bhakti for God is that which is the ultimate bliss. That who knows that the Atma is all, and that the self is everything. That there's no separation, that there's no difference. That is where that true devotion lies. That is where that true power, that true bliss comes from. That when you have that devotion, when you kneel your head down to the Supreme Lord, slowly that merit, that accumulation, that power comes about. So beautiful. Now, we're going to hop around in the Gita a bit. First, by understanding who's actually keeping the ledger. In karma, who in the Bhagavad Gita, who's actually doing all this? In chapter 15, shloka 15, and I am seated in the hearts of all. From me are memory, knowledge, as well as their loss. I am verily that which has to be known by all the Vedas. I am indeed the author of the Vedanta, as well as the knower of the Vedas. So this me, this Bhagwan, Sri Krishna, is in fact seated in all of us as the Atma and is responsible for the memory, the knowledge, and the loss of the knowledge, the birth and rebirth cycle that gets carried on from birth to rebirth. And if we go further into chapter 18, shloka 61, the Lord dwells in the hearts of all beings, O Arjuna, and by his Maya causes all beings to revolve as though mounted on a machine. The cycle of birth and rebirth, that karmic action that's constantly happening. The very precedent of any bookkeeping in the first place is done by the Lord that dwells in all, by what we call the self. And by the self, we mean the Atma. That is the ultimate ledger. Now, in the Puranic literature, it would be Yama, the Lord of Death, is actually the judge of the soul, of the Atma. But in this Vedantic knowledge, the Maya Shakti transformed and transfigured because of the journey of the self, of the Atma, and ultimately the Lord, Bhagwan, Sri Krishna, who resides in all beings, is actually the Atma, and the Atma ultimately colors the next life and future lives and the previous life. So, what exactly is karma? Is karma this spiritual money? Well, not exactly. You can think of it more of a force. Karma directly means action. And the universe presents this action as cause and effect. If you ever heard that karma is actually cause and effect, this is what it's actually meant. It is the presentation that nature does something and nature reacts from that something. And ultimately, Sri Krishna directly answers how this karma presents itself. In chapter 3, shloka 27, the gunas of prakriti perform all karma. With the understanding clouded by egoism, man thinks, I am the doer. Now, the gunas are sattva, rajas, and tamas, and those are the three categories of all prakriti. Prakriti directly meaning nature. So you could think of karma as an invisible force that is interacting with nature. And the only way how we know that karma exists is because the gunas are interacting with each other and changes are happening. Now, ultimately, how does the ultimate relationship with the Supreme Lord actually come about through karma? Chapter 5, shloka 14 actually talks about how nature is doing ultimately everything, karma is doing everything. Chapter 5, Shloka 14. The Lord does not create agency or actions for the world. He does not create union with the fruits of action. Nature does all this. The omnipresent does not take note of the merit or demerit of any. Knowledge is veiled by ignorance. Mortals are thereby deluded. Ultimately, because Prakriti is presented through karma, all of nature is simply doing the motions that needs to be done in order to balance itself out. All the rewards, all of the curses, all of the different things that are taken away from you that are given to you are all of nature's doing trying to balance itself out. Karma is just a mechanism for prakriti. Prakriti ultimately balancing all of nature all at once. And one should focus on the self, one should focus on Sri Krishna to not only not be deluded by such illusions that, oh, karma this and karma that and this curse and all these things, but to really be unaffected by the comings and goings of these temporary things. One that is focused and one that is dedicated to the supreme, to the ultimate truth, will surpass all karma. This is the Hindu conceptualist signing out.